I come originally from India. I did all my education there initial. Then I went to UK also. So I came here in end of 1991 in Qatar, and I did my masters in chemistry. So my plan was to work in oil and gas, chemistry, oil and gas, petrochemical. That was the plan. I got selected in Qatar Petrochemicals, but destiny had some other plans. I ended up in construction industry in Qatar. At that time when I came, one big project that was starting was the Ras Laffan port. That was a big job at that time, and I got a chance to work in relation to that, basically supplying raw products for the shoreline defense and making tank farms and concrete and all that. So they needed somebody with a chemical background to do the testing of the products and all. So that's how I started my job here. That was in early '92, and then I worked for a company, international company called Lafarge. They are worldwide. They were number one in cement and mining and concrete and all. So I made my way up. I was the country general manager for them here for the aggregate division, which is the mining quarrying division. We have cement, we have concrete, and we have the quarrying aggregate division. So I climbed up to head the country operations here. Then I was managing operations in Fujairah in UAE, in Khorfakan, and we had 4 quarries here in different times and different locations. We supplied most of the construction related products for Ras Laffan development of the port. From 92 to 2012, I was involved in most of the projects in the construction in the port, and also the infrastructure projects Then I moved to recycling aggregate, because we have a lot of waste here in a place called Raudat Rashid. So the company had a ambition of sustainability ambitions, to take care of environment, reduction of carbon footprint and all. So I was told to lead that mission of moving away from mining the virgin rock to recycling the waste. So that's how I got into recycling, and then eventually in 2018 I thought, let me start myself on my own. Then I moved and started my own company, and since then up to here. When I took over, this company was not brand new. I was already here many years, but this company actually belonged to one of my close friends. So that company was not doing much, so he said, I told him I want to start. So he said, I already have a company, you run it, you take it, and I will make you partner, shareholder. And so that's how I took this company. This actually started in 2008 to start some mobile equipment rental and transportation business and trading business. But when I came, then we started, we added this activity, and we are producing aggregates for concrete. So I saw an opportunity there, because I always like, innovation, something new, not what everybody is doing. So I saw an opportunity here. There are some sand plants here. They produce sand for concrete, and they end up with lot of waste. So these plants are operating some from 40 years, and they are putting a lot of waste, 30-40 million tons of waste. And I saw an opportunity, like we can recycle that, and we signed a contract with them, and I started doing this business. So this material was lying as a waste for many years, and then we started recycling. And then when everybody knows, oh, we can, there is a business model, then a lot of people start following. So now there are many other people also doing, but I think I was the first one. We started recycling, which is called Wadi stone. I mean, not many people know. Uh, Wadi comes from river. Okay, I think you understand. In Arabic also, yes. Probably 10 to 15,000 years ago, the monsoon used to reach here, and there used to be rivers here, and the deposit from that is being used to make this wash sand for concrete. So I took the waste from that process and we started making aggregates for construction. So used for concrete and roadworks and pipes around, and the hollow blocks like the blocks you make for building. So that's how I started my own operation. You are absolutely right, because here one problem is people like tried and tested things. They don't like new, because there is a risk. It can backfire. If it doesn't work, I put my neck in that, maybe I get fired. So there is always a resistance to something new, which is innovation. So it's not easy. If you are making an innovative product, it is not easy, because market resists initially, because our customers are concrete producers or roadworks contractors. They have to make their mixed design for 1 year. Okay, and I go with them with a new product. They will make a mixed design approval, and what if I don't supply, what if I supply poor quality? So they have all these worries. So the market tries to go with tried and tested products only, not something new. So there is a resistance in the beginning, because you put money and you have in production, you have a manufacturing cost. It's not trading, I buy and sell. If I don't sell, I don't buy. That's okay. But in manufacturing, you have to produce, make stockpiles. People will take sample and will do trials, and if we like, then still they are not sure whether I can supply them. They need maybe 20,000, 30,000 every month. Can I give that or not, because you are new? So there is a resistance for change, which is the difficult part for us. But once you survive that, then the next problem is many people start coming.
Yeah.
Oh, you make a way, there is no road, you make a way, and then once it is ready, a lot of other people start following. Then
But being the first one is like you're
Yeah.
proud of this for
it
sure.
is difficult actually, because you do all the investment in terms of time, in terms of capital, cost, everything. You make the way. When there is no road there and you make the road, it costs. For others to walk is easy.
Yes.
So that's the big challenge you face in the beginning. See, you have to constantly look for innovation. Okay, now I made this road, and now others are following. I have to now think about something else. I cannot just do only once. So in my field, I have always believed in innovation. Qatar is a peninsula, and there is a lot of shoreline. So a lot of construction of ports and beaches, and so I had been involved. I mean, first time when I was with Lafarge, that time we did lot of new products, shoreline defense products, which were originally always imported. We supplied 35 million tons of rock products in Ras Laffan port expansion project, one project only. So there were many others. So then I moved to another, then recycling. So now I did waste concrete recycling. I did the Wadi stone recycling. I did some what we call C&D waste, construction and demolition waste, because we have a very big pile here in Qatar. All the demolition that happens is dumped in one place, and it is, believe it or not, it is the highest point in Qatar. And if we don't recycle it, it will be like Mount Everest. It's taking about 11 square kilometer of area, and it is in the middle of urban development. You have all this aqua, the motor city, There are the Trashid's development, and it is in between all this dirty pipe. And it is every day they are putting now around 2000 truckloads into that. So it is keeping on growing. And if you don't recycle it, it's not sustainable because it just keeps on growing. It'll be like Burj Khalifa. uh, so that's my plan now. I'm in discussions with some people here also. I have a plan. I know how to do it. I have the expertise, but to implement that you need more. You need strong capital expenditure. You need support from the government and authorities. I think they are very much aware. The authorities here are very much aware that we need to do something about it. So that is my next thing. I want, if we can recycle all that. And other thing is, I had always been very passionate about environment. That's my wiring. With all the trainings I had in the past, and so I don't know if you know, Qatar is the highest CO2 footprint per capita in the world. Our CO2 emissions are highest per capita, and this is affecting the climate, glaciers melting, sea level rising, and okay, it may not affect our generation, but the coming generation, some countries will disappear because water levels will rise 1 meter. A Fiji like country, even Qatar is not very high. It is a peninsula, and if the water levels rise, so there are many other things. Emissions we need to control, the dust, greenhouse gases. So 40% of the global CO2 emissions are coming from construction industry. 40%. Okay, and construction industry is mainly supply cement, aggregates, bitumen, all these things. So we are in aggregate. So we have to do in our area what we can to reduce the CO2 emission. And if we can, instead of mining the virgin rock, if you mine the waste, then you reduce it significantly, the CO2 emissions. And we need to do something about it, especially the countries whose economy is based on hydrocarbon sale. They have more responsibility, because you make money from selling hydrocarbon, which is a fossil fuel. Fossil fuels, when you burn, you have emissions. So we have more responsibility to do something about it. And this is one, in my line of work, this is one thing you can do, is recycle the waste, and you reduce your CO2 emissions. For example, by recycling, your CO2 emissions will be 2 or 3 kilos per ton. Okay, whereas virgin rock it's like 50 kilos per ton. Plus we import a lot from UAE before, now Oman, so if you add all the transport and all, it is more than 100 kilos. About the security you said, yeah, both personally and for business is one of the top priorities. For example, business, I will give you two examples. Okay, the company I worked for before, they invested almost $700 million and started a new cement plant, okay, in Syria in 2012 around. And then 2013 this ISIS problem started. Okay, this new plant started production, everybody, new staff, happy and ready, and they got all these people, terrorists, and every employee was taken hostage. And then we had to somehow pay and get out, and then after that every truck that goes in the road they will stop, and then eventually you had to stop that, $700 million. So that's one example how important security is for the country, and it has to be stable. All the investors look for that stability and security, otherwise you cannot. Personally also, if I don't lock my car here and my wallet is there, I don't worry here. Another example is one of my friend is an Italian guy. We used to work together, Andrea. He was working in Africa, And between work and house, he used to drive every day, and you have to keep a cheap watch or some $1 or $10 something. He got stopped and somebody put a gun on his head. He said, I forgot my wallet, I don't even have watch, I don't have anything to give you. And they shot him, you know. So it is so important, security, because you can't tell you how important it is, you know. So, and also for personal life, if our kids go out, my wife sometimes, she has shifted late and patients, and she's coming back after 12 o'clock. I don't worry here, but in any other place I will be worried, you know. I will have to go and pick and all. They sometimes go for a movie, come back 2 o'clock in the morning. I cannot imagine in my country that, you know, for ladies to come alone driving. And so in personal life also, in business, everywhere, it is very, very important. I have to start with, let's say, the father Amir. You know, I would salute him for many reasons, but at least, you know, few things I will say, because I was here that time when he took. He was the crown prince before, and when he took the leadership of the country, and I can tell you, because we are in business, and when all the projects go down, you know, the country has cash problem. You know, when the country has cash, you know, there is a lot of work going. So I know when he took the leadership, the country had financial problem. So from there to take it to the world's richest country, GDP per capita at one time was more than $100,000. You know, so to from a very difficult financial position to take it to the world's richest country, it requires some vision, some leadership, some implementation, serious implementation of plans. So that is one big achievement, you know. Then, you know, we did other things. 2006 Asian Games, we won the bid under his leadership. Lot of infrastructure developments. There are so many things, but these are few main things which are very challenging. You need a very good leader. And the last one, I would say, very important. I have never seen in any monarchy a succession planning. Okay, like in corporate world it happens. I am the director, I am the general manager, I have to go up, so I have to prepare somebody down. But in monarchy, mostly people stay in power till they live, you know. But the father Emir in his early 60s hands over the power to 33-year-old son, who is not even the eldest, you know, young guy. This is unheard of. You know, this shows you are not greedy for power. You know, you think about country, you want new generation to take over and new ideas. He's guiding from behind, but you know, that is very interesting thing, because I have never heard in monarchy, because people like the chair so much, you never leave it once you get it. So to do that, that shows something, you know. Those are the key things I can say from my experience, what I see. And in my experience also, this form of monarchy is much better than democracy, because in democracy, you know, there is a trap between money gets power, power gets money. You get into that. You see United States, such a developed country, but you cannot take the guns out of the drawer. Kids take gun and go da 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 da. I went to Texas once, and I went to a shop, and without any ID I was getting for $750 one automatic rifle. You know, I could buy. I was just checking how much I can go. So the gun lobby supplies, you know, to the people who come to power, and they cannot. But in monarchy, this form of monarchy where people think about their country, this is much better. There's no corruption here. You know, you don't. Nobody has to feed money to get power. So that nexus is not there, which is very good. Now coming to our current Emir Sheikh Tamim also. I mean, because I was early 90s, I know one of my friends used to play tennis with him, and he was like very accessible in the coronation, you know, talking. Now he's still like that. I mean, he's not, you know, he's Emir, but so his side, I would say, again salute to him, the way he handled, the wisdom with which he handled the blockade. It was a very difficult situation, fully locked, and everybody want, you know, to harm you in middle of Ramadan. Everything happened, and the way he handled the whole issue was requires a lot of wisdom, you know. You cannot, it was not easy. Everybody thought the country will implode, you know. So that was a very important example of, you know, the leadership, I think, in my opinion. Plus, you know, this hosting FIFA was not an easy target. I mean, I was involved with Supreme Committee. I was one of the three people from industry. They were taking advice of if there is shortage, what we can do, and I had done a lot of report. Uh, it was a mammoth task, you know, to do to hold this kind of. And some of my friends who have attended Moscow, Brazil, you know, they said not 10 times, 100 times better,
Yes.
you know, this event. Everybody said that. But people who have attended many World Cups, FIFA, you know, I'm not a big football fan, but I play golf and cricket. But the feedback from people who came here, everybody, not one person said anything, you know, to host something like that, flawless, you know, because such big thing. Even if I do my daughter's wedding, small, something will miss. I may forget to invite you. Oh, then you will say, you didn't invite me. You know, small mistakes can happen for small event, but such big event, flawless, without any mistake, that shows his leadership. I don't have a one single person as such, you know. Of course, your family, your close friends are always there, you know. Whether they can help you practically, at least a good advice from, you know, that is good. Your family, you know, your parents and your wife and your close friends are always there. But I like to learn something from everybody. There are things I've learned from, you know, everybody. Even you meet a child, you learn something. So I don't have one particular person as such who I will say is my idol. There are some people who have influenced me a lot, you know. But you read books about Gandhi, Mandela. I mean, in my lifetime, I like the ex-Pakistan Prime Minister. He is very a role model for me. You know, the way he has, you know, he could have lived an easy life, but he you know, opted for a very challenging. So there are many people who influence you.
Because
But
thanks for everyone.
yes, everybody, every human is unique, and you can learn something from everybody, you know. Even if it is a small child, you can learn something from that. So, you know, thanks to everybody, I guess.